Hi guys, so for my project, I decided to do a collage of just my thoughts and I titled it Mindset Moments. Because there are moments that they change my mind, they open my eyes to things, and it's things that I might not have realized are still happening or I didn't realize were happening at all. So I broke it up into each of our categories, so religious oppression, racism, sexism, classism, heterosexism, transgender oppression, youth and elder oppression, and ableism. So this is my project. As you can see, that's colorful, it's fun. I put a lot of work into this. It was a lot of fun to make, honestly. So starting with racism, in our readings, I learned that Black students are still discriminated against in schools. And I thought to myself, well, how can we change this? How can we make it so we are not discriminating against our own students who we are teaching? As a teacher myself, I try to enact this every day, and I would love for my coworkers to be up to date on all of this. I believe our teachers are not educated on diversity as much as other professions are, like other helping professions. I feel like some teachers act upon stereotypes and biases whether they believe it or not. So I believe that we should have mandatory trainings for all teachers, no matter what the preschool, elementary school, everything. And I believe they should be renewed just like social workers and other helping professions have to do. Moving on to religious oppression, I've realized that we've really focused mainly on Christianity in all forms, whether it's educational, the government, everything. And it's out of our hands, but it is something that we can fight for, but we need a further separation of church and state. Christianity is put into everything we do. It's in our laws, it's in our government, and I believe once that changes and once we branch out to see the other religions that are offered, things may be able to change. And then referring to ableism, my question was, why don't we include people with disabilities into our programming and planning? I realized even in my experience in the education system, which is where this is primarily an issue, I believe, it's not put into the everyday lesson planning. And in order to change that, I believe that it should be. There should always be a side note or just in the lesson plan itself an alternate activity or a way to help so all students can be involved. For youth and elder oppression, I realized that we refuse jobs and opportunities to people because of their age. And of course, there's child labor laws, blah, 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 but children can still help. No matter if they're 2, I've seen a 1-year-old, they love to help. They carry everything. They take what is given to them, and the same thing vice versa for older persons. Like, age should not be a determining factor in a role or job performance. We should ask about experience and known abilities, and they know what they can and can't do, and I'm sure that they will tell you. And it is easy to work with them and make sure that you have an alternate for them to do. Like if they cannot climb a ladder, they can wait at the bottom and you can hand them things. And it's an extra person and they're still doing something just like everybody else. Relating to heterosexism, I realized that heterosexual is still the norm, and it shouldn't be because we legalize gay marriage. We're taking steps forward. We should not be taking steps back. I believe that there's a broad spectrum of sexual identities, and everybody should be invited to explore them. You do not have to identify as that yourself, but you should be educated on the fact. You should be educated about all of them. There's more than just LGBT. There's a plus for a reason. And stemming off that, transgender oppression. From this class and a prior training that I was in, I realized that we don't try to understand transgender culture. They have a whole different lifestyle than we do, and they live the same lifestyle as us, but they face different obstacles than we do. And in order to understand, we need to stop being scared and we need to ask questions and we need to work on just being open-minded. And then classism. I realized that students are not being given equal opportunities due to their parents' financial status, which usually is not their fault. So we must provide in-school and out-of-school resources for all children to help reduce the stigma around being poor. There is a strong stigma around that, and it definitely needs to change. It's something that we need to help with, and we need to help our fellow friends and family get out of that spot. No matter, we don't have to give them money, but just by being supportive. And then finally, sexism. Women are still viewed as less, and we've been fighting this fight for a very long time. But using appropriate feminist tactics and not targeting males, not targeting anybody, but just fighting to be viewed and treated as equal, I think would definitely help this problem. But throughout this course, I've learned a lot, and I'm really glad I took it. It opened my eyes to a lot, and these mindset moments, I think it's something I'm going to continue to do for a while. But all in all, thank you for coming, and thank you for listening.